Hello, I'm Therese, the Service Manager at Sesame Lane, Clontarf. In our service, we regularly have several students and volunteers who visit with the children, and they greatly enhance our learning programs, our sense of community and our children's experiences within the service. Volunteering also helps provide valuable on-the-job experience for anyone interested in a career as an early childhood educator. However, it's important that students, volunteers and visitors are aware of the service policies and procedures, including the practices to be followed in, for example, a medical emergency or evacuation, that appropriate paperwork is completed as required under our legislation. Volunteers and students must also be aware of the key policies and practices at the service, including, but not limited to, emergency evacuations, lockdown procedures, children with life-threatening medical conditions, the location and access of policies and regulations, relevant health and hygiene practices, and incident and injury procedures. All students and volunteers must follow the lawful directions of the educators at the service and must take reasonable care for the health of themselves and others. All students and volunteers and visitors must sign accurate attendance records when participating at the service. This includes signing in their attendance on each day they visit. The forms that we have that are required include student and volunteer record form upon commencement, student and volunteer log upon commencement, relief staff, student and volunteer induction checklist upon commencement, a prohibition notice from a CEQA upon commencement, and all students and volunteers and visitors must ensure that they have the relevant Working with Children check, known as the Blue Card, as required by our regulatory authority. This should be recorded and validations are redone regularly. Of course, at every visit they must complete their attendance in our visitors' student log. Students and volunteers must be provided with a brief induction program that alerts them to their responsibilities in relation to confidentiality, child protection, emergency procedures, and the non-medical conditions and allergies of the children and staff at the service. Any student engaged in paid employment, such as our school-based traineeship program, must complete their full induction process as per all paid staff members. Students and volunteers must never be left alone with children. They are to be supervised by an educator at the service. Students and volunteers must be advised of the location of the service policies and forms, as well as the national quality standards and regulations. Sesame Lane welcomes and encourages the participation of students, volunteers and other visitors within our services, but the safety and well-being of our children and current staff members always comes first. There will be times when the amount of adults visiting the service will be limited, and we may need to ask students and volunteers to take a break from visiting during these times. So, thank you for joining me for the overview of this policy. Please refer to the full students, volunteers and visitors policy and make sure you understand the policy in full. As always, if you ever have any questions, please see your service manager. Thank you.